What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Litecoin today. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it. All right, here we go. We're sitting at $117.70 right now. Broke out of this range that you've been plagued by since May of 2022, right? You've recently just broken out of this. It doesn't look so much like it on the monthly perspective, right? But if we look at the weekly perspective, I think it's very obvious. I think it's abundantly clear that yes, you've broken out of this zone. And what you've done this week actually is just back test this area for previous resistance as current support. You've done that. Very nice wick here. I always love seeing any kind of red candle that has a bigger wick than it does a body. That's nice. We want those big wicks on the red candlesticks. Looking at the weekly RSI here, you did get to a nice reading of about 84.5, pulling back down to the overbought zone. I suspect that this week, 18 hours, 30 minutes left, you'll probably close right around here, if not a little bit higher. And that's not that's a pretty obvious call to make. But I think it would be nice to close around here because then you'd be set up to bounce off your overbought zone on the weekly RSI, which is a very bullish kind of situation to be in, right? I mean, let's see if we can go back in time and find any examples of this, right? It was a setup, but it didn't play out, right? End of cycle. That's my reasoning for why that didn't play out, but not really any examples on here. I suppose that the best example might be this right here, kind of, right? You had a little 3-week stopping point and then you continued moving upwards, something like that maybe, right? And it actually kind of does work really well because right here you're in this like accumulation phase. This was your breakout of that. You were back testing for support, and then you found support on your overbought zone, and then you rallied. It actually is kind of a good comparison, I think. But I would expect that we see higher prices here pretty soon. I think that this move all the way down and then all the way back up by the end of the week, closing right here on the weekly RSI, I think it gets you set up for more bullish things than it does bearish things. Your weekly 123 moving average here, this green line, right? It is starting to slope upwards. That's a very positive thing as well. I want to look at the 123 RSI. I look at this stuff on my own time. I don't normally bring it up on the videos anymore, but I do look at this. Yeah, buddy, you're looking good, guys. You're looking really good. Yeah, you can use the RSI as high as 123. Isn't that kind of crazy how that works? But I only really use it in relationship to this line here. I don't really want to explain it too much now. It's my own kind of thing. It works sometimes. It just helps. It helps validate things, right? It's not like some secret that I'm trying to keep from everybody. It's just like it's not 100% valid 100% of the time. So I don't want people to think it is. But it's just something that I use to help concur with the overall dynamics. Generally, whenever you have your 123 above the 50, which it was like that, and it was actually getting away from the 50, you have your moving average sloping up like this, and you're above it. That is the signal for a new trend, right? And it makes sense that, you had your downtrend, you had your sideways trend, you are starting the new trend, which is the upwards trend. You've just started it. So you actually just broke out, back tested, you literally just started it. So Litecoin, you've got quite the road ahead of you. You're at $118 now from a high to a low, hit your 0.5, pulled back to your 382 directly, found support off of it directly. You're moving up now. Probably over the next week, dude. Like I wouldn't even be surprised, Litecoin, if you were at $172 by the end of next week, right? It's the end of this week right now. We have 18 hours, 27 minutes left. In 7 days, 18 hours and 27 minutes, I suspect you really could be as high as 172. And if you're not, I would definitely think that you're above this high. I would definitely think that next week is going to be a good week. And then Christmas week, you'd be in this area. But I think by the end of the month, certainly I would expect you're in this area, if not higher. Going into January, I think you'll see prices at $253 to $318. I don't know if you see $318, but I do like this area right here where this high is, and you had these closing highs here on a weekly basis. You had a little bit of resistance here. Something between like $253 and $280, $290. I could really see that happening by the end of January. I don't think you'll be at new all-time highs by the end of January, but I do think that you'll be up in this area, right? Getting ready to break out later in the year. Ultimately, I do suspect Litecoin will see new all-time highs by the end of this cycle. That remains to be seen, but that is the suspicion at the moment. I do believe that we'll see targets as high as like 2,500 or more for Litecoin, right? And the reason for that, I said 2,500. I'm sorry, I should say 2,100. It's different for every chart. But from a high to a low, the 618 is all the way up at $2,100. I can't see a chart that's been accumulating or consolidating for multiple cycles. When it breaks out and it sees new all-time highs, I can't see it hitting its minimum target. It's possible. It's accepted as a possible target, but for this long, I just don't accept it. I think it likely you would at least go to the 1414, but even that is a bit of a stretch to me. I think the 1618 is more of an acceptable minimum, especially given the size of this consolidation, this multi-cycle consolidation phase you've been in. I think that the 1618 is an acceptable minimum target. That's at $2,100. You could see as high as $4,500, and you could even go higher. There are a couple of things that suggest Litecoin could see prices as high as $6,000. The 2272 is all the way up at 13.5K. Maybe you could go that high. I don't think it happens, but I mean, if you see it kind of move like you did here, it's possible, but I don't think it happens. But ultimately, I expect good things to come for Litecoin. I just think that right now we're going to have more modest good things to come over the next month and a half, and those more modest good things are going to be something between like $200, $270, maybe as high as 300 and something, you know. But I got nothing else to say, guys. I've given you all that I can give. The daily RSI looks bullish. If you move down, it won't be by much. The 4-hour RSI actually looks a little bit bearish. It could suggest, ooh, maybe it is. You know, if you find a lot of cryptos actually look like this right now, where they're at, they kind of look bearish. But if you were to find support right here, it's like actually the perfect area to find support. You would start to look good. I don't like the overall look, but I would expect or maybe suspect, I have this feeling that by the time I wake up tomorrow, it's going to be up here. So the 4-hour, it's not necessarily bad. It's not necessarily good either. We'll just focus on the daily being good. Who cares about the hour to hour? We'll look at the day to day, and the weekly time frame is definitely looking bullish as well. Monthly time frame getting toward that overbought zone, man, where you do your best work. Even last cycle where we didn't break out to new all-time highs. Well, I guess technically we did, yeah, but we didn't have like a breakout, right? Even last cycle, getting into that overbought zone promoted some good stuff. We're just getting in there now. Let's see real quick. I'll end the video on this note. So you got overbought here on this month, right? You were green for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months after before you found your like relative high. Then you pulled back. Really 6, 7, 8, 9 months of a cycle total. After you got overbought, you had 9 months left of your cycle. Then it ended. Here, you got overbought right here in January. Once you got overbought in January, you had 1, 2, 3, 4 cycles, 4 months left in the cycle. So 4 months the first time, 9 months the 9 months the first time, 4 months the second time. You got 118 now. I don't know if you'll be overbought by the end of this month, but if not, definitely by the end of January. I would think you're overbought, which means you're just getting started. So January, you know, at a minimum, that would mean you have 4 months left, right, of growth after January. So 4 months after that would be, that would be May. That Litecoin tops out. Or if it were 9 months, like this time here, then perhaps it's sometime like October, which that's more of like what I'm expecting. And it's so fitting that both of these cycles give you targets on both ends of the overall range that I'm going for the end of the cycle, which is like April, May time at the absolute earliest, or October, November, December time at the absolute latest, and probably more likely that's the time frame. So it'll be interesting to see. Either way, even if it is a shorter cycle, which I don't think it'll be, but even if that's your concern, right, we're still guaranteed multiple months moving up, 4 months or more months moving up once Litecoin does get overbought on the monthly RSI. I'm only focusing on that so much to say the party's just getting started, right? We've just begun. Where we are now is equivalent to like down here on this cycle or down here on this cycle, right? We've only just begun. So we've got a lot more growth to go. I'm excited to see what happens over the days and over the weeks, but I'm more excited to see what happens over the months. I got nothing else to say for you guys. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye.